Hi beauties, good morning Lady Paper Moon. It's very early in the morning, you can see the sun coming up there. And I've been painting already for like 2 hours. I will show you later. When I'm sitting in the studio painting, I have so many thoughts running through my head. But then I'm in the middle of the process and I can't get the camera ready so quick as I want, and I'm thinking about art, beautiful thoughts about painters, and I think, for instance, about Van Gogh, and now in particular about Matisse, especially, for sure. And I feel like the more I'm dealing with painters and art, and about the works that have been done over the centuries, the more I get drawn into all that. And the old masters, as we call them, let's say until Bougueron, just to draw a line. The old masters are fascinating for their precision, perfection, the way they know their brushwork. This is incredibly amazing techniques that we can see in their works. And they are such perfect workers now, aren't they? And for their skills, I adore them to death. But then when you think about like the Impressionists, Neo-Impressionists, and now especially again Matisse, then we have to adore him for his, first of all, courage, because he got laughed at so much, so many times. And people said his work is rubbish and all of that. But he still kept going and insisted on his way. And I don't know, if you just have the slightest interest in arts, which I suppose you do, because if not, you wouldn't watch YouTube videos about arts and art journals and creative processes, then if you feel like there is something inside of you that wants expression, then I can only tell you, take the old paintings, take the old masters if you want to, or take Picasso, take any painter, and try to copy a work. Just pick one and try to copy, but not to copy it in order to have copied it, so that people will say, she or he is only copying that and there's no own ideas in it. No, it doesn't work like that for me. Every painter that ever took a brush and a canvas, they went out in nature and they painted a tree or the fisher boats or whatever they painted, and nobody says, oh, they are copying from God, or they are copying the creation, this is not their own idea. And I mean, we cannot paint anything that hasn't been painted before. Hardly. And Picasso always said, we're all born as artists, but later in life, if you keep being an artist, this is the art. So I want to encourage you to do your own artwork and find your own expression. And if you don't like to paint or draw any figurative motif, then just take some colors and put them next to each other and try to find a context with just the color. Or take a Finding a Church, or take a Picasso woman's head. Just try to take it as a reference. And then you have something to start on. And then try to unleash your inner expression, your inner artist, and make it your own. Because if you take as reference a painting by Monet, for instance, or you take the birch tree that's around the corner, there's no difference. There's no difference. It's a reference, right? We have to paint what we have all around us, what we see. It doesn't have to look like what we see exactly. The most important part, and I cannot stress enough, is to find our own expression. And you can find so many reference photographs on Pinterest, on the internet generally, or the neighbor's house, or the neighbor's cat, or whatever is near to you. Don't go far. You don't have to go anywhere. There's so much around you. And just pick one thing and take it as a reference. And this is completely legitimate. And if what you paint then looks like the original, then first of all, wow, well done, well done. But then this is not what it is all about. You don't have to copy it to have the same thing. You don't. You can, but you don't have to. We need more lightness dealing with art. And if we unleash our own inner artist, then we are free. And if somebody comes and says, oh, that looks rubbish, yeah, okay, then it does look rubbish to their eyes. It's okay. But critics is good, but I prefer to be criticized by people that at least sometimes take a brush in their own hand and try to make some kind of art themselves. So they know it's not always so easy. But the art is our only space in today's society which is without any rule, where there is complete freedom. And the art is what we as human beings, we can make it, we can understand it, and we can benefit from it so much. Because you can go wherever you want to. You can never say what you really want to say. You cannot do what you want to do. There is always limitations, restrictions, and rules. And we have to complete expectations. But in the art, we're just free. And I want you to experience that freedom yourself. And if you don't feel like doing anything in your eyes difficult, then take a piece of paper, draw a circle, a triangle, and a rectangle, and then put them together some kind of way and see where are the crossing lines, and fill them with color and see what happens and how does it feel to you. And it happens also maybe that you don't like it at all and you crumble the whole page and you throw it in the corner, and then 10 minutes later you go like, oh no, and you get it back out, the rubbish, and you flatten it, you run for the iron and try to make it good again. And I just want to open the door for you to enter a free world which you carry every day in your own self, within yourself. And don't be so harsh to yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. Don't criticize too much. Just let your own self be alone. Leave yourself alone with criticism and perfection and just play. Enjoy. We have to to feel how much joy it is to paint and to draw, or to do an art journal page, or to be creative in whatever way, or dance or music. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy what there is for us, being made possible, what we can make possible, what we can turn into reality. So I've been talking now a lot. I hope I got across the point.
This deceptively simple style Matisse pioneered still feels new and fresh today. It's everywhere, from the iPod ads to blue jeans, from the Olympic logo to the Festival of India. Matisse is still very much around. One of the few people alive who saw him making the cutout.
Okay, now we're working a little bit. As I said before, we will do a little excursion to Mr. Henri Matisse, and I've been cutting out some shapes already. Look, he has been doing these shapes in huge sizes also in the end, towards the end of his life, when he couldn't paint anymore. But he was not only doing these simple shapes, trying to seek the ultimate reduction from form and perspection, but he did so much more than this. This is what he's most famous for, Icarus, for instance. But look at what I have here. Jazz is maybe the first art journal there has ever been, and it was made by Matisse. And I'm thinking about doing an art book like this one we see here, but I won't fill it all entirely with only Matisse. I don't think so. But maybe I do a double spread Matisse or 2 double spreads. I'll see. The pictures you see now on my iPad is what I quoted above. There's a video you find on YouTube by Mikos, and it's called A Master of the Modern Era. And this is how the first art journal looked like. Huge writing, scripture, and his artwork, for sure. And his penmanship is also art to me. I love it. And this is the pages he did. And the cutout he did, he used paper that has been painted with gouache paints first. Bright, pure color. And you can see here the complementary contrast he uses. And the silhouette people and figures. And there really was Monsieur Silhouette back in the days in France, who was the first who did contra light drawing of portraits. And this is why we talk about silhouettes today. Look at these pages. Oh. And look at the penmanship. And we are going to create some like that. This is how he started painting. When he didn't succeed in his father's shop. When he didn't succeed in learning to be a lawyer. And he started like this. This was the view out of his window. There were no boats, but he made the boats up. He made it all up. And you see how bright the colors are. And they really jump as much as they do because of the dark and black spots we see. The dance, everybody knows. It's a very huge painting. And Icarus flying too close to the sun and burning. And here is no more detail left. He left autonomy, he left detail, he left perspective, he left everything and reduced to the utmost. And Icarus was Greek mythology figure, as you know, I'm sure you know. And this was a rebellion at the time, what he did here. And again, this is how he thought he was supposed to be painting in 1890 when he started, and in 52, 2 years before his death, the Blue Nude inspired me 20 years ago to do a painting. Now, today I have it in my bathroom because I have a blue boudoir, blue bathroom, and I hung her. And this inspired me so much, this Blue Nude. I did never know anything back then about Matisse and about art. I didn't know, I knew a little bit, but I was not so much into. But I just seen it somewhere, and bam, it's left his impact. And I will show you. This is the painting I did. This was Amélie, by the way. Then he was painting this and like that, like the Impressionists. That was him. And look how he places the paint. And back then he was an absolute rebel. And he didn't succeed in l'École des Beaux-Arts, in the academy in Paris. They didn't accept him. And then they ended up telling him he paints like a wild animal. And wild animal is a vauve, en français, vauve. And this is why we talk about fauvismos. This was the period then, for a short period of time. That was in the south of France. Look, this is what he actually saw out the window in southern France. And what he actually ended up painting was this. So he tells us that we can be free. We can look freely and we can paint freely. And he was just, I don't know. And here you could see Van Gogh in comparison. And Van Gogh also already started to separate color from the motif itself, but he never went as far as Matisse, for instance. Here's Amélie. And everything was scandalous about his work, and people just literally killed him, but he kept going. The world was not ready for this kind of art back then. And look at this. There's no perspective. He doesn't care about perspectives. And he puts the strong, vibrant colors against each other. That's him also. He'd been traveling a lot too and got very fascinated by Oriental patterns, for instance. And look, the eye can't rest there. This is him in New York. This is the studio. The painting is called The Studio. And he did a yellow underpainting, and then he put the red on top and just left out to sketch the furniture. Almost no perspective. The only perspective that is given is by this one. Yeah, the pink painting. the angle shows us that there's a room. And the clock has no hands on it. There's a nice symbol. Time is unimportant and useless for him. Time is an illusion, a man-made illusion. This is in as a whole. And you look at these huge scissors. He was very sick then when he got old and he couldn't paint anymore. And then he took his huge scissor, not what we have, the tiny sweet ones, or like those. No, he didn't have, obviously. He had a huge scissors, huge pair of scissors. And he was most of the time in bed cutting out the shapes. And they got hung everywhere. What a shame that this is in black and white. Imagine the colors. Woof. And these simple shapes, until today, they haven't lost fascination whatsoever. They are so simple, so reduced, but they are so beautiful. Here you see him in bed, cutting out shapes. Icarus again. That was it now for the... If you get a chance, look, watch this video. It's really beautiful. For me, it's a joy to watch documentaries like that. So now what we're doing? I thought we're looking for a kind of watercolor paper. This is a 300 GSM. Doesn't feel as thick, but if they tell me, well, then we believe, huh? Here it says 300 GSM, but it's okay. And I would love to paint a background first. This is still muted colors. This is still our vintage look, our soft, natural colors. And yeah, you'll see. Okay, so I've been busy cutting out these shapes. And here you have a nice comparison, look, because this one is a jelly print, green, white, gold, and I like it. It's yummy. And this is the photocopy of the gum tree leaf, which is also so beautiful. So now we have to burst some color out. I love the vintage look and I love the muted, soft and sweet colors, and I will definitely keep working with them, but we have to celebrate the colors of life together. What do you think? Let's do it. Let's just bring bright color and loudness and joy and, I don't know, like energy on our pages, on our covers or canvases. This is what we're doing here. You can do all kind of artwork. So this that I painted in pink, I'll put on the orange, the figure on the green. Look, the figure doesn't like to be painted. She's bending. So if she is relaxing again, then she can go on here. Come on now. Yeah. I will put her down with some acrylic binder and then she has no chance. The green one up there. Yeah. And another pink on the yellow. And this is a beautiful, energetic and powerful page. I love that. Please do along with me. Get the colors out and the bright paints and the contrast pure colors. I found this tiny bit, the little Matisse image, and just to break the whole style of the organic forms and break it down with this little image within the image. But it's a frame missing, I think. It looks a little bit lost, a little bit naked. Most of all because the pale background color, this beige. So we'll just take any kind of piece of paper and make that like so, a little frame. Matisse, by the way, was one of the little artists back then who could actually then live from his art. He had a very rich Russian donor who bought almost all his paintings and assisted and helped and just did all he could for Matisse. But we small little bitty artists in our small studios, all in the background, in hidden places, remote places, nobody knows about us. And same is for dancers and whatever artists they are. There are so many of us. And I'm really happy that I finally managed to open my Patreon page. It's a platform, Patreon, more or less. Yeah, it's a platform for people who would like to support artists. And if you go on Patreon, you can choose yourself the amount of money that is going to the artist of your choice every month. And there's different offers by the artists. In Art Journal World, for instance, there's some that give away an already made art journal every 2 months or like so. There's different tiers, they are called, different amounts of money to give to the artist, and each tier has its own contents. Some are just to help, and some are you get ephemera pack if you're doing art journals yourself. Like so, it's very easy, and it's a serious and good platform and where we can trust. That was founded in 2013 by a musician in the United States. And yeah, you just can support the artists that you like to support with only little money every month or more. It doesn't really matter, because the more Patreons an artist can get, the more freedom he has, and the less sorrow and pain and bad thoughts about pure existence, right? And I had 2 YouTube ladies that I loved very much, and I always watched their videos over the years. And then I realized suddenly that there were less and less YouTube videos, and they were talking about Patreon all the time. I didn't even know what there was at the time. And I found out that they didn't show their process, and they didn't tell their secrets on YouTube any longer. They put all the important content, they put it on Patreon only, so that only people that would pay for the channel could get the benefit out of these contents. And I don't like that too much, because we cannot forget that there's also people that would love to support an artist, but maybe they can't. And this is no reason to take away the content from YouTube. It should be still for everybody, or I will do it. It will still be for everybody, even without helping, without supporting. But on Patreon, I will maybe put up some content which is extremely detailed or more personal about myself or how I look like and things like that, which are maybe not in the overall interest, if that makes sense. So I will keep going with my YouTube videos as we do now, and we will do it like that. And I'm making my German videos, and I will do my English voiceovers for rest of world viewers. And I'm happy with that, and I don't like to make it too exclusive. Maybe if I put a major tier on Patreon, like I found one art channel maker, she's a painter also, just like me, and she has one tier for like $250. She's in America, $250 a month, but this Patreon gets a painting or a full art channel every 2 months, like so. I'll figure that out. I'm only in the beginning now, but I do have 2 Patreons already, and I'm so proud. It's really overwhelming. Okay, I'm showing the O'Keeffe art book again, which is a little bit the style like the jazz journal from by Matisse. And this is what I want to do. And in the videos to come, the next couple of videos, we will also always do a little bit of Matisse. And I will make a vlog talking about Matisse again. Maybe I do a video where you see me paint, and am I doing a voiceover with informations and stories about Matisse, just to so you can come to know him a little bit better while you're watching me paint. I think this could be interesting. Just love these shapes and the colors. I'm so happy about finally being encouraged enough and ready finally to use the bright colors. It's a party of colors coming up now. And for those of you who don't know about this Patreon thing, I will write it down for you, because I was talking about it to some friends and they have never heard of it. So there's a lot of people that don't know. And years ago, I didn't know myself. So what about this one? It's not working. A little bit of water. Yeah. Patreon. Yeah, in the middle, this is supposed to be an R. Yeah, okay. So, and it's just so encouraging if you know there's somebody out there, and even if it's only a little money, it doesn't matter, but it's a support. And it's, if you put the money part aside, it's the appreciation. This is the real support, and it makes me so happy. I can't even tell. I don't have the words for it. So now we have that frame done. Let's put it that way so you can see better. Yeah, let's celebrate the colors of life. Love it. Love it. And as I said, I will pick them down, glue them down with acrylic binder. And I like it. It will warp up the page, so I will have to make sure to flatten it so that it doesn't warp too much. But can be done, no problem. I'm thinking, what else will we do with these shapes? They are so simple. My God, they are so simple, but they are so fascinating. And Matisse was doing rather the organic forms and figures also, but most of all the organic forms like this one. And it reminds me of like seaweed. You know, when you dive in under the ocean, the plant world underwater. This is what this reminds me of. And he was diving. He didn't paint the sea much. He was living there, but he hardly ever painted it. But it is said that he was diving or snorkeling. Do you say snorkeling? I don't know. The only thing we have to see is if we do these shapes, we have to give them a certain kind of dynamic. And this shape here, it reminds me more of a Chinese calligraphy, which leads to something we will do very soon, which is Sumier, painting with Chinese ink. And this on the left-hand side, I almost like it better than the sheer organic because of the calligraphy moment in there. Yeah, well, so we will. It's difficult sometimes to do the voiceover because I'm almost not able to catch up with what I'm saying in the German video. So bear with me, please. And I was lucky because I found online here in our region, I found very cheap edition of Jazz by Matisse. It's a second-hand, it's a used book, but it's super cheap, and the lady is sending it over to me, and I can't wait to get it and show you. And yeah, it's so much fun to be with you here on the channel, because it makes me feel like we're doing something together. Because before I did the videos on YouTube, I was always on my own. Just nobody ever saw what I was doing. Nobody, I don't know, I was just not, because I'm so shy and always living in such remote places. I don't have many human contacts really. And ever since I restarted the channel, I have so much fun, and I feel like I have a new family, a growing new family, and I'm proud. I'm proud of what we do on the channel. I'm proud of you guys. I love your comments and I love your appreciation and your support. And it makes me just happy. And this is so cool because the more happy we are as an artist, the better we can just be free and just do our work and search for what comes out of us and bring it down on the canvas or bring it down in the journal. And if we are sad, nothing is coming out. See you soon, and I just love you all. Mwah.